And welcome, everyone. I want to thank you for attending today's presentation. It's a special presentation focused on Obamacare, or the Affordable Care Act. We will begin the program by having our president of QS2 here with us to introduce our guests and the topic for today, Jim Files. Jim, are you on the line with us?
Yes, I am, Randy, and good afternoon, everybody in QS2 Nation. Thank you for joining us today. We have another very informative presentation. Top of mind for everybody, I think, in North America is health insurance. We know the blunder that we've seen on the news with the website for under the Obamacare program, and everybody is asking questions. We have an exciting program set up with our partner, National Brokers of America and Health Insurance Innovators, and as you all know, NBOA is our call center / enrollment center, and they are closing 72% of every single client, or QS2 client, I should say, that they talk with. So it's an extremely successful program. And today on this call, we do have Alan Redmond. He is the president of NBOA, and we're going to bring Alan in on the end to answer any questions that the audience may have on Obamacare. And I'm going to turn it over right now to Scott Lingle. Scott will be our presenter. He's with Health Insurance Innovators, and they provide a great deal of our product set that Alan Redmond's team offers to the QS2 clients. So with that being said, Scott, I'm going to go ahead and let you take her over.
Thank you. It's an honor to be on a call with you folks today. My role in the company at Health Insurance Innovations is the Chief Sales Officer, and I've been with the company a couple years. A little bit about my background. I spent my first 20 years working for United Healthcare, biggest player in the health insurance space nationwide, and worked my way up to VP of Sales for their individual line of business on a national level. Had a great career, did some great things, and about 2 years ago, when Obamacare laws just started to pass, it was kind of the perfect storm for the major medical industry, and a lot of triggers that happened. Prices started going up, underwriting started getting tighter, compensation to distributors started going down, and I started seeing a lot of our business shift away. And as that happened, I started asking our big distributors, our big agencies, where's the business going? Where are you shifting the business to? And over again, I kept hearing about this small little company by the name of Health Insurance Innovations. And I happen to know the owner of the company, a guy by the name of Mike Kozlowski, who's our CEO. And him and I decided to join forces a couple years ago. We saw explosive growth over the last 2 years, so much so that our bankers encouraged us to take the company public, which we did back in February of this year, raised $65 million in capital, had just a really extraordinarily successful IPO, and Health Insurance Innovations is now traded on the NASDAQ under the symbol HIIQ, and it's doing very well. The reason why I tell you that is we are extremely excited about 2014, and our company is perfectly suited and perfectly situated for what we think is going to be explosive growth that all of you can take advantage of, and that's what we hope to talk about today. So with that, let me start off with why we think this market, the individual health market, is going to explode. And it really has a lot to do with the small group industry. Currently today, if you look at the left-hand side of this diagram, a little over 16 million Americans today buy individual major medical policies, and that market is about ready to explode between now and 2020. The most conservative estimates show that growing from 16 million to about 66 million. And the reason for that, there's a couple good reasons. Number one, employer groups that are 50 and under today do not have any penalties if they break up their group and buy individual policies. So that's item number one. Item number two is there are actually many financial incentives for the owner to go in that direction. And the reason for that is today, let's say you've got an owner of a small, auto body shop, and maybe he's got 10 employees, and he's given all of his employees, he's paying for benefits, and he's paying out $300 a month. Well, what he can do starting in 2014 is he can pay out that same $300 and tell his employees to actually take that money and go buy an Obamacare type plan, and they can take advantage of a considerable amount of government subsidy dollars. And they can combine the employer money with the government money and maybe get a plan that's twice as good. Where we fit in is in any 10-man group, there's going to be about 6 employees that are going to qualify for a lot of government subsidy money based on their income level. And there's going to be about 4 employees that will not qualify for much at all. And those folks that don't qualify for much subsidy money are going to be much better suited to buy a product that's kind of an affordable alternative to Obamacare. And that's where we fit in. We sell short-term medical products that are exempt from Obamacare, and they're perfectly situated and suited for this market that's exploding right now. The other factors that are driving this shift are, number one, the individual major medical market up until 2014 has always had underwriting. And so the reason why a 10-man group would never buy individual plans, even though sometimes financially it made more sense, is, typically there would be 2 or 3 employees that were not healthy enough to qualify for individual health insurance. And so it would kind of blow up the idea before it got started. And now, 2014, all individual policies have to be guarantee issue, no underwriting. And not only that, the benefits that are mandated are the same as group. So you've got maternity that's got to be guaranteed and mandated, same as any illness. And so for all these reasons, it makes sense for a lot of small groups to shift toward the individual market. Now, where do we fit in? So you've probably heard a lot on the news every night about this website that you see up in the top right-hand corner, healthcare.gov. This is where, if you are going to go and buy an individual policy and you want to take advantage of Obamacare dollars or government subsidy money, this is where you go if it was working. And the open enrollment is from October 1 through March 31st. And if you want to take advantage of government subsidy, and or if you are unhealthy and can't qualify for major medical underwriting, you go to the open enrollment, and you're going to be guaranteed issued a plan. If your income level is low enough, you will qualify for subsidy money. However, there's also fine print on the website. And what we have in the bullet points are what the government is calling a special enrollment period. And what this says is there's also, beyond the open enrollment, there's also a special enrollment period, and it's triggered 60 days before your individual policy ends. And it says in the fine print that any product that will give you a certificate of credible coverage is a qualified plan that would fall into this category. Our short-term medical plans that we offer through HII do have offer certificates of credible coverage. And so our interpretation of this law, and our attorneys have vetted this very carefully, and so have our banks, and we believe that when a short-term medical plan expires, when it runs its full term and it expires, it will trigger what's called a life qualifying event. You will have a special enrollment period of 60 days, and that is when, if you can't re-qualify for another short-term medical plan, this will be the way that you can enter into the insurance marketplace, get a guarantee issued plan, because of that special enrollment. And this is a game changer. So what this means for the folks that don't qualify for a lot of subsidy money, they can't afford the premiums of Obamacare, it's in their best interest to buy a product like ours that's off the exchange. In many cases, they're going to save 50, 60, 70% in annual premium, and there's no downside. If they get cancer or stroke or heart attack while they're on the product we offer is very strong coverage. We have A-plus rated carriers and A-rated carriers that cover the MAP in about 45 states. And the coverage is full-blown major medical, up to $2 million lifetime max. The only one negative is the fact that it's term insurance instead of permanent insurance. And now that we have this situation where you can actually opt in to the exchange with this special enrollment period, there really is no downside. You've got good coverage while you're on the plan. When the plan ends, if you're healthy enough to requalify and reapply, great, go for another run. If you're not and you need to get a guarantee issue plan, you've got a special enrollment window of 60 days. Now, the target market for our products are the folks that you're seeing in this graphic. There will be 100 million Americans that will not qualify for any subsidy. And it happens to be those that earn 400% of the poverty level. It's about 33% of all Americans. What you're going to find in some of our examples today is really what we see as our kind of our sweet spot or our niche is anybody in that 300% or greater category. And in this next slide, we'll kind of point out what those income levels are. So here you're seeing for the 48 states, contiguous states, household size of 1 at 300% of federal poverty level. That income range is about $34,470. You can see at 400%, it's $45,960. You can also see for a family of 4 at 400% would be $94,200. And really our niche is going to be the buckets at the very end, the 300%, 400%, and greater. Those are the folks that won't qualify for much subsidy, if any. And for those folks, Obamacare is going to be very expensive and in many cases too expensive. And so what we have next is actual rates from the marketplace. And this is taken an example of Indianapolis, Indiana, and these are rates from the exchange. And I'll focus on the middle category, family of 4, a couple 40 years old. They've got a couple kids. They make $60,000 in income. So this is really not even our sweet spot, but I just want to point out kind of how the price savings work. So this is a little bit below what I'm considering our sweet spot of 300% FPL or greater. But in this family situation, if they didn't qualify for any subsidy money, the second lowest silver plan out there is going to be $883 a month for this family. Because they make $60,000, they're going to qualify for $474 that they can apply as subsidy per month. And so their net after applying subsidy is going to be $409 per month. Now the HII short-term medical plan, how it kind of stacks up is we've got the same scenario here. 40-year-old husband, wife, couple kids. They live in Indy, household income of $60,000. And if you go to the third column over, the HII short-term medical plan, $2,500 deductible, 80/20 to 5,000 co-insurance. The price tag on that is $217.96 per month. The annual savings or the annual premium would be $2,615. And you can see, even compared to this scenario where you've got this family that's getting quite a bit of subsidy, we're still showing a savings of $2,292.48. And so the question always is, well, what about the coverage? How does the coverage stack up? If you look at the out-of-pocket per person, for the silver plan, it's going to be $6,350 out-of-pocket per person. When you look at all the deductibles and the co-insurances they have to, they're responsible to meet. And on the HII side, the out-of-pocket per person is $3,500. And how we get there is $2,500 in deductible, and then you've got another $1,000 in co-insurance. So the out-of-pocket's, almost half. The other question is, what about the tax penalty? If you buy a plan that's not a qualified Obamacare plan, isn't there a tax penalty? And normally the answer would be yes. Normally this family would pay 1% of household income, or $600 in this scenario. However, there is a loophole in the bill that says if the premium for the plan, for the silver plan, is greater than 8% of annual income, the penalty is waived. And so in this scenario, when you run the math, the actual premium for that plan is greater than 8% of their annual income, so there would be no tax penalty in this scenario. The other thing we're recommending, and I know Alan's center is doing a great job of this, is we're recommending that not only with the savings do they buy the HII short-term medical plan, but they also couple it with a product like our critical illness product. And what that does is it gives them $30,000 in cash if they actually have a critical illness. And the way we coach our clients is we say, that will come in handy because if you actually have a critical illness, you're going to need to get an Obamacare type plan, and you're going to need the $30,000 just to help pay for the high premiums. And so the two go together very well and still show considerable savings even when you combine the two products together in what I think is a more valuable product than the silver plan. The other thing that we're making available to all of you, and this should be rolled out sometime in November, is we've created a subsidy calculator. And the way this will work, and you'll be able to leverage it to kind of educate your clients on which direction they should go, is you'll plug in their state. In this scenario, we've got Illinois. We've got, is there coverage available from the employer? No, in this scenario, there's not. We've got 2 adults, 2 kids. Their annual income is $75,000. You can see the makeup. We've got a 35-year-old husband, 35-year-old wife. And when you run the calculator, what spits out is what you see at the bottom of the screen. So it's going to show you, and what we're doing is we're having real live a data feed that's going to show the actual least expensive plan from the exchange in any given state, in any given scenario. It's going to calculate how much subsidy that family qualifies for. So in this scenario, we've got the least expensive plan that they could get in Illinois would be $12,840 annually. They would qualify for $5,715 from Obamacare. So the net, after they apply the subsidy, would be $7,125 in annual premium. On the HII side, they would have to pay a penalty, a tax penalty of 1% of household income, or $750. The premium for the HII product would be a little over $3,000, so $3,135. And their net costs, when you combine those two, would be about $38,885. So in this scenario, we're showing an annual savings of $3,240. And in addition to showing them the premium, we're also going to have a benefit comparison. So it'll kind of stack up how the deductibles compare, how the co-insurance compares, whether or not they have doctor office copays, drug coverage, all that stuff will be compared on here. And generally what you're going to find is if you're comparing our short-term medical to, say, a bronze or a silver plan, which those are kind of the two most affordable products on the exchange, is we're going to compare very favorably. And most of the time when you look at out-of-pocket maximums, we're going to probably fare better. The one area that we do lack, that they're a little stronger on, would be preventive care. And I guess, but the point is, if you're saving $3 grand a year, you can probably afford to go to a lot of wellness visits that cost you about $100 each. So, you know, a lot of folks can self-insure on some of those nickel-dime things if they're going to see a lot more, you know, annual savings, like in the neighborhood of $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. Not only that, one of the things we're working on that we're going to be rolling out in the next 30 to 60 days is we're going to have a optional benefit that will be a wellness package that'll give the customer a certain amount of wellness visits, and we're doing that to make our product even more competitive. So more to come on that. But this calculator is, it's in beta right now. It's going to be rolled out hopefully in the next 2 or 3 weeks, and we feel it'll be a great tool to educate your clients on which direction they should go. Should they buy an ACA plan, or are they going to be better served with a HII type of product? And so finally, the kind of the next steps or the action items. First of all, if your goal is to sell HII, short-term medical, the target market is this. They have to be healthy enough to answer the 5 medical questions that we have. We have 5 yes-no knockout questions. If they're not healthy enough to answer those 5 questions, they're going to be better served by Obamacare. They also need to be in these categories. So we think that our market's going to be singles that make $40,000 a year or more, couples that make $60,000 a year or more, and families that make $70,000 a year or more. And again, that goes back to how much subsidy they will qualify for. And in these categories, they're not going to qualify for much, and so they're going to literally see, you know, annual savings with our products somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,000 to $6,000 if they're in these income ranges. Not only is price an important criteria to look at when they're evaluating an Obamacare type product, but the other thing that's happening, and you can read stories about this all over the press, there's something going on right now with all the carriers where they are narrowing their networks. So one of the ways that they can control their costs is by restricting their networks and driving more volume to a smaller group of hospitals and doctors in exchange for much deeper discounts. And so we're seeing this all over the place where carriers that used to have really, really broad and expansive networks are now having skinny little PPO networks. A lot of them are going back to the old HMO models. And literally, folks that are 1 hour, 2 hours away from the city have virtually, you know, no hospitals nearby to go to, no doctors in the network. And most of the wording in these contracts say that if you're out of network, you have no coverage. And so it's really important for you guys to educate your clients not only on the price and the benefits, but also take a really good look at the networks and whether or not they have any doctors or hospitals near them that are in the network. And then last of all, the calculator, we do intend to have that out and available to all of you to educate clients on whether or not they're a fit for either Obamacare or an alternative like HII, short-term medical. And with that, I will hand back to Alan or Jim and take any questions or next steps.
Okay, this is Jim. I'm going to jump in here first. Well, thank you very much, Scott. That was very informative. For the QS2 associates on the line, keep in mind that Health Insurance Innovators is one of our great carriers. We do a substantial amount of business with them. We have other choices as well, as everybody knows here on the phone. And the reason I bring that up is that, again, and Scott, you may not be aware of our model, but our people are driving clients to a website. They are not selling or educating their client. What they're doing is stating to their clients, if you're interested in saving money, potentially 20 to 60% off your health insurance cost, here's my business card. Please go to my website, select health insurance. A page comes up in the left-hand corner, select the video in which your HII video on short-term med appears for 3 minutes, and then enter your enrollment information, contact data, and touch submit. And upon touching submit, Alan Redmond's team, NBOA, will call our client, educate our client. They will do the calculator. They will do the comparison, determine what's best for your client. And they will also determine if the client indeed wants to buy Obamacare, or it may be a better fit for your client. We all get paid on that in the end. So the beauty about this whole program is HII is a substantial portion of our business, but for QS2 associates out there, we have short-term medical via HII, we have major medical, we have a group policy, we have a defined benefit plan, we offer Obamacare products as well through the NBOA, in which you all get paid on, and we have a very selective and specific product targeted only for New York. So we have a whole basket of product offerings for our clients, and the beauty again for the QS2 associates on this line, your job is not to sell this product. Your job is not to educate your clients on the product. That is the job of NBOA. They are licensed to do it. They're educated. They get trained by HII and other carriers. Our job is to generate qualified activity to our personal websites. And again, qualified activity. We don't want to throw mud on the wall. What we want is a qualified prospect. But once that prospect is qualified, they've listened to the video, Alan's team takes over. So with that being said, I do have a couple questions that have come up, and I'm going to read a few, and then Randy, if you have a few, we can ask these of Alan or Scott. On the penalty side, what is the maximum penalty somebody will incur if they fall outside of the exchange plans?
Yeah, I can take that. So it's a penalty that starts at 1% of household income in 2014. It goes to 2% of household income in 2015, and then it finally ends at 2.5% of family income in 2016. And then so 2.5% when we get to 16 will be the max. But for year one, 1% of household income will be the maximum penalty.
And that is gross income before any deductions are taken out. That's W-2 or 1099 income?
It's my understanding, yes.
So if somebody makes $200,000 a year, they could be penalized up to $2,000 in that example.
They could. Now there is there's this 8% rule that I mentioned, that if the premium for the silver plan is greater than 8% of your income, then no penalty applies.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of high income earners. If we'd have to just make sure we consider that, and that's Alan's job at the call center. What about Alan? Do you have any comments on the presentation, and would you like to address anything?
Guys, first of all, I think we owe Scott a round of applause. I think that presentation was phenomenal, and I learned a number of new things here. Guys, as Jim knows, I'm brass taxes when it comes to business, and really what I see here, guys, is market size. Okay, we have 100 million people here that will not receive a subsidy through Obamacare, so we have a huge market. The next thing when myself, Jim, and Dan, and Randy were considering this business plan with MBOA, QS2, HII, was not only the 100 million people, but also penetrating that market. And when we're penetrating that market, QS2 reps, it's really about the price, the product, and being able to use the products. As we can see from Scott's slides here, the product is very favorable. In many cases, the product is better than what is being offered through Obamacare. And correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, in any of these assumptions. So we have a wonderful product to penetrate the market with. We also have a fantastic price with the tax penalty or without the tax penalty. Let me ask you, Scott, what would the average savings be in your example there? Is that coming? Am I correct in assuming that's around 35–40% compared to that silver plan? Is that accurate, my friends?
Yeah, it depends on income level, and I would think, I'm not sure what QS2's target audience is, but if it's these folks that I've got on the screen right now, 40 and above if they're single, 60 and above if they're couples, 70 and above if they're families, the higher you go, the more the savings is going to be, because once you exceed 400% of FPL, back to that slide that I had, the customer gets no government subsidy whatsoever. And it depends on the state, but what you're going to find in those scenarios where there's no subsidy is, generally speaking, what I've seen is about savings of somewhere in the neighborhood of $3,000 to $6,000 annually, depending on the scenario. But yeah, I would say 35% easy, in a lot of situations up to 100%.
Yep. That's great. That's great. So, guys, again, we have a unique line of products, including HII, that Jim Files and Don Ahmad have brought to the table here, where the price is phenomenal, the product is excellent coverage, and then we also have that safety nets, where if the short-term medical plan expires due to a life event, that client can then jump onto the Obamacare plan. And then also couple that with critical illness, which is really, as Scott was mentioning, not only are you getting your health insurance covered, but you're also getting this, what I like to call, Jim, a bucket of money. That's $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 of cash, just in case you need to get onto that expensive Obamacare plan. God forbid you develop cancer next June or July, August, whatever the case may be. So, guys, I just think it's a winner. You know, we're honored to be dealing with Jim Files and Don and the QS2 population, and it's the call center's job to simply educate your clients. If we have a client, Jim, that calls in and the Obamacare plan makes all the sense in the world, we will sign them up for that coverage. We're certainly not going to force your QS2 clients or your QS2 reps into a plan that doesn't make sense. And Scott helps us with that, as he's also involved with compliance in regards to the HII. Jim, if you don't mind, my advice, guys, is to get out there, talk to the people who are confused, who are seeing this governmental shutdown continuing, and really educate them that there are alternative options to this Obamacare plan that are less expensive, that provide similar, if not better, coverage. And all they've got to do is go to that QS2 rep website, enter their information, and sit back, relax, and let our reps take care of the rest.
That's great, Alan. Randy, I know there's some comments that come in. Can you bring a couple of those questions up for Scott and Alan, and see if we can answer them for our audience?
Yeah, you bet, Jim. I've got a few that I've pulled up here. You won't be able to see them, but let me just talk them out to you. One of the first questions was, how do they access the estimator that you showed?
We've got that available to Alan, and Alan, I'll let you speak to that. I'm not exactly sure how that's going to roll out with QS2.
Why don't I comment on that? I think it's going to be a two-pronged approach. Alan's going to obviously do that for clients in which he talks to in the call center. What we will do at QS2, we'll put this in our back office if it's permitted by HII, as well as NBOA. On the other hand, I'll stress this point again. We'll put it back there just so you'll have the tool. But again, we're not selling the client, folks. NBOA is, but I will put it back there as a tool if you grant that permission on HII side.
Certainly, guys. We'll have that subsidy calculator on our desktops. Each of our 42 reps here, Jim, have dual screen monitors. And really what we have going on is, on one monitor, they have their HII code up, and on their other monitor, they have the subsidy calculator. So we do get them clients to call in and say, hey, I want to sign up for Obamacare. And the first thing our rep says is, okay, let me get your zip code. You're in Illinois. Okay, this is what your subsidy would be, but this is your alternative option. So again, guys, as Jim has stressed a few times, you're not selling. You're simply driving the leads to the call center, and then you can trust us with doing the rest.
That's great.
And the other exciting technology we're working on, we're we're making the calculator tool available. We're building it in an app version that we'll have available on iPhones and iPads. And so eventually, in hopefully a month or two, we'll have that available via iPhone app. And not only that, the video that you guys leverage will be on that app as well, along with some other very useful tools.
Great, great. Randy, any other questions from our audience?
Yep, next one is, can short-term medical be renewed indefinitely?
The answer to that is it depends on the state. In most states, the answer is yes. But we do have to refer to a chart that we have, and in some states you're limited to one renewal or one reapply. Some are limited to 2 reapplies. But generally speaking, in the majority of the states, the answer is yes. But it's gonna be dependent upon the state. The way health insurance works is it's regulated at a state level, so each state has a different set of laws that we abide by, and so that's how that works.
Great.
And let me just add on there, guys. Keep in mind that 80% of our production is through HII and Scott and Mike over there, but we do have 20%, including United Healthcare, Assurant Health, Blue Cross Blue Shield. So, if for some reason the client cannot qualify, I don't know, let's say in Illinois for short-term med again, we can simply switch gears, run the subsidy calculator again, and say, okay, Mrs. Smith, it may be a little bit better or a little bit more affordable for you in 2015 to go with Assurant Health. So keep in mind, again, Jim and Dan have chosen close to 16 products, I think, 16 major medical products. So we do have them options as well.
That's great. Randy, why don't you just throw one more question out there? And
okay.
Let the audience go.
Yeah, if you don't mind, Jim, I've got 2 more here. That's all I have left.
That's good.
Can a person over the age of 65 that's ineligible to enroll in Medicare, can they be included in the short-term medical insurance?
64 and a half is the cutoff for short-term medical, and so that is that's the final age.
Okay.
We almost got there.
Yeah, I wish I could change. The last one we have, guys, for the call today is our associates have heard that we can start enrolling customers through Alan and the call center that are best suited for Obamacare. Is that live and happening yet?
That is not live and happening yet, guys. That'll be rolled out in the next 7 to 10 days. It'll be a little bit sooner than that, but under promise and over deliver. We're looking for 7 to 10 days with regards to getting onto the exchange program. We are still quoting the Obamacare plan, but guys, 9 out of 10 times our clients are finding that the short-term medical option is the best bet. You know what? Let me take that back. I would say 9.9%, 9.9 out of 10 times, Scott, we're finding short-term medical is the better bet once we run that subsidy calculator. But that will be available in the next 7 to 10 days, Randy.
Great.
Great. That's all I have. Thanks, Jim.
Well, listen, I want to thank everybody on the phone. I want to leave you with one very strong message. We have a phenomenal program for our clients, and that's what we're in business for, is to help our clients. But by helping our clients, you all are going to make a tremendous amount of money. Every one of you on the phone here knows 10 to 20 people, 30, 40, 50 people that we can help and help them significantly. I saved 2 weeks ago when I applied for the plan, I guess 3 weeks ago now, I'm saving my family about $1,000 a month. Kelly Schwarnberg is saving his family about $1,000 a month. We have countless testimonials. So if you're not presenting this option to everybody you know, not just your clients, but everybody you know, your brother, your sister, your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, your parents, whomever it may be, this is a phenomenal program. And I'm not just pitching it because we're all making money. This is a phenomenal program for your clients, your friends, and your family. And you're remiss in your responsibility if you're not presenting this to them, because this is what we do here at QS2. We help families protect themselves, their assets, their security, and this is exactly what this plan does. and HBOA will do the right thing with your client. Again, you don't have to educate your client. You do not have to sell your client. You do not have to support your client. That is done by our partners, HII and NBOA. Please, please, about this thoroughly. If you want to make an extra $400, $500, $600 driven to the commission grid transaction that NBOA is closing right now on an average, all you have to do is tell somebody, if we can save you 20 to 60% on your health insurance premium, would you have interest? Or would you be interested in comparing Obamacare plan? We have a wonderful partner. This is all you do. Website. Thanks, everybody. You have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, guys. God bless. Have a good one.